Hey guys, I am Amy and welcome to Thoughtful Thursday. And today we have
Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth. Oh, can you hear me now? I dropped my microphone. Uh-oh. You can't hear me if I don't have a microphone. Let's try this again. There we go. Now you can hear me.
You are back.
I am back, yes, absolutely. And so today we are in our fourth week of Lent. And with Lent, we've been kind of going through in our Thoughtful Thursdays what Jesus has said on the cross. And so it's kind of been a little different where we've kind of gone through all of the different pieces of it. And this week we have a fun one. So it'll be interesting to see what you have to say about it and what you guys think about it too. So mention it in the comments and we will be back and get thoughtful shortly. All right, and we're back. So this week we are actually in Mark chapter 15, 29 through 34. And so it's got a little extra in this because I wanted to kind of compact a little bit more into what we're talking about today. But Miss Elizabeth, what version of the Bible are we using this week?
Is it the KJV?
King James Version.
Yes,
I like it.
yeah.
All right, so I'll let you read and then we'll get into this.
All right, super. Okay. And they that passed by railed on him, wagging their heads and saying, Thou that destroyed the temple and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself and come down from the cross. Likewise also the chief priests, mocking, said among themselves with the scribes, We saved others, himself he cannot save. Let Christ the King of Israel descend now from the cross, and we may see and believe. And they that were crucified with him revealed him. And when the 6th hour was to come, there was darkness over the whole land until the 9th hour. And at the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Wow, a lot crammed in that little bit. But I definitely wanted to start at that beginning because we're at the end is what once you get through it a little ways, we're talking about the end of where Jesus is getting fatigued and everything is wearing down on him. And then he says these one of the final words that he says on the cross. But before that, you hear about the crowd, the passers-by, even somebody on a cross right beside him, yelling at him, berating him, and talking to him about how he should be saving himself. But that's not while he was there. And that's what we can look back now and know. But these passerbys, they were walking by and they joined in. So they're just like, oh, I'm going to the Passover. They were going to Jerusalem for the Passover that week, and they walk by and they start yelling at this man that they really don't even know, but everybody else is yelling. So why aren't I yelling? And it's one of those where I had to step back and think of what that would make me feel as a passerby. Would I be like them? And what it would make me feel as Jesus on the cross. And so that's kind of where we're going to start with today. So what's your version of that crowd mentality? What are you thinking? Where that comes into your life? What do you draw from that?
I really feel like it would be so easy to just join in. One, because if you're not, then how are you looked as? You're passing by and you're not part of all of this. So how easy it was probably for them to just be like, let's join in. We don't really know who we're really attacking here in general. And so I think from their viewpoint, I could see some of them just falling into suit. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, how heartbreaking that it's so easy to just fall into suit like that. And how often, even now, people are just like, oh, well, I don't see it. I don't feel Jesus. I don't understand it. So it's easier to just say, how can he? How can he be this person that he says he is? And people easily fall into that instead of maybe understanding or getting to know like who Jesus is and why he is who he is.
Yeah, definitely that crowd mentality and not knowing the person that you're persecuting at this point, but even happens today.
Yes.
That you can see people are getting bullied, and what side of the field do you land on? Are you stopping them? Which is the point where we're supposed to be. We're talking about bold this week at church, and so that might be part of that where we need to be bold and step out and say, hey, you need to stop this. But it's also not chiming into it either. So and it's then you also have the person who is being bullied too.
Yes.
So there are multiple parties, and how we're going about this, how you're finding the actual conversation, the actual truth behind it, and what is truly the deeper thought process behind all these people, because some of them are even coming out like, it's like, hey, let's go, and
we're all doing it, let's all do it.
Yeah, and so maybe they're at fault for just joining in, but they aren't the cause of what's behind it.
I think these days, even, people can get caught up in that moment. Like, this is a moment when reflecting and looking back, they're like, why was I a part of that? Why did I do that? Or how guilty they feel. But in that moment, they're just so caught up that they don't often process what's going on. And I mean, I'm just speaking that in my own form of, when I talk to my kids, it's, are we showing kindness? Are we loving like Jesus, in the sense that Jesus didn't say, love that person because they did something to you. He said love because that person is loved by me. Like, show them that kindness, show them your heart, but don't just give in to, what they may be doing. Still be loving. Like, Jesus doesn't give in to us. We get in trouble when we do wrong. He doesn't give in to us. Don't give in, but love like he does.
Yeah, it's moving beyond. We were talking about how the justification of rebuking someone or giving them punishment, but not necessarily making it like this evil thing that they did. There are consequences for actions.
Absolutely.
And so beyond those consequences, you still have a love. You can see it in some parents, that you still have to redirect the kid. You still have to tell them, okay, this is not what we're supposed to be doing, but you still can love the good parts of that. It's like, hey, this was amazing. Yes, we're going to have to learn to do this, but and you love on those good moments and you pick those up, but you're still redirecting those.
You can love them without loving their choice.
There you go.
It gets so mixed up so quickly and easily where I don't agree with what you're doing, but I still love you through it.
And that's so Jesus.
Yes.
It's the loving, even though like you've made this choice. It's seeing beyond what you are in this moment, and we've talked about that before, and so beyond that moment and seeing where people are and where they can be. I am actually going to pull up a quote I pulled from one of my books I've been reading. He was quoting somebody else, and I am not going to be able to say his name correctly. He is from Soviet Russia, and he was in a prison camp. And so what he says is, if only there were evil people somewhere, insidiously committing evil deeds, and it were mere necessity, or it was only necessary to separate them from the rest of us and destroy them. But the line between good and evil is in every person's heart. And who would be willing to destroy a piece of their own heart? And so that's where I pick up Jesus, and I know I'm forgiven. I know that evil is there, and that moment can be so wearing on you as you move forward, because it's hard to even forgive ourselves after these moments. But Jesus. And so when he's sitting there on the cross, so we're moving on to the next part of this verse. And so he's on the cross. He's crying out. I tried to look up how it's actually written in my Bible. And I'm going to not do this one as well either. So, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. My God, why have you forsaken me? He knows how we feel.
Yes.
He knows it, because everything had darkened. The sky, that normally bright, sunny, 3 p.m. sky, had darkened. And everything was just so bleak.
The pain was there.
Yeah, he felt it. Mm-hmm. And he felt that separation. And he felt it to know what we feel.
Yeah.
And that is something so much that we can draw on that. We can know he felt that just as we feel it today. And so as we look at how he feels and how we feel, we can get connected. And is that something that you connect with as well? What that Jesus, that pain, where do you draw from his?
Yeah, I think about just first the grace that we get from him, but that he knew that he was going to be going through this pain, and that he feels that pain that we felt. And when we're sad, he's sad for us. He feels it. But coming from a mom's standpoint, I think of Mary standing out there in the pain, watching him be in pain. And that pains me to even think of all of that. Mm-hmm. But it's as a mom, you want to run and protect. You want to be, you want to have the answers for them. You want to stop them from, what they might do to get in trouble, but they have to learn that on their own. But to have Mary just stand there watching that and seeing it all, and knowing that she can't help him mm-hmm. in that moment, and people are yelling, but you could help yourself. Take yourself off if you're some amazing person. And she knows that he can help himself. She mm-hmm. knows that in her heart, but she also knows that she has to stand by and watch it and know that he knows that this is what's going to happen for him. And so it breaks my heart to know that is, how it all had to happen for mm-hmm. us to be able to not have this sin. And you look at him on the cross and you think, that should have been enough. Here we still go to him with our prayers. We still go to him with all of these things Lord, help me with this. Lord, guide me through this. But at what point is, it's never too much for him. It's never enough. And that should have been enough right there. He should have been this for you, and it still wasn't enough in his mind or in God's mind. We're still going to keep reaching you. We're still going to give you grace, and we're still going to listen to your prayers. Mm-hmm. And that's what amazes me, that continues on. No matter what.
Absolutely. That is true sacrificial love.
It is.
That is, he died so we can live. He felt the pain and the sorrow and the immensity of God turning on him. Not in this, just in that moment of why. And he still did it. He still died for our sins so we can live. And that is a purposeful sacrifice.
Yes, he followed through knowing he could stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly. It's that cost to save others. Mm-hmm. And so it's something that there are personal sacrifices that we make to save others. Mm-hmm. We have purpose in the world of who we are and what we're doing. You have purpose. You're the Wave Ministry Director. You have purpose with those kids and showing them the love and my purpose is through digital entertainment. And so I'm connecting with the people that aren't necessarily able to come in, aren't necessarily sure about coming in yet. And there are different aspects of that.
But
not
God's
just
building our strengths off of it. Yeah.
and so it's each of us, and we're working together. It's not just me by myself. It's not just you. And then we have God who comes in and says, "Hey, I'm right here with you."
Yeah.
And that sacrificial moment, and that I'm going to round back to where the crowd is. A sacrificial moment where you're like, I am not part of this crowd. I am going to step beyond this and say, this is not right.
Yeah.
I'm going to step around and I'm going to protect this person who is being battered, abused, bullied, whatever they are being, maybe figure out the deep, what is the actual concern underneath it.
Right.
Because it's the surface. That's Facebook. Facebook is what I call a surface shield. And so going beyond that and seeing that gift, that sacrificial love is for everyone. And it's crazy. It's awesome. And I love it.
Yeah. To go deeper and really find out like the true purpose of what it all is about, and not be that person that just falls into it so quickly and easily, like we all know is easy to do.
Yeah, definitely. And so as we wrap up this week, I love the comments. You can you can hear Jason commenting or read it as we go through this, and he's given insight as well, and that's awesome because hey, he's not always in here with me, and so it's good to hear a little bit of information from that side of it too. So you guys chime in, let us know your thoughts. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things, because that's how we share. That's how we show that our authenticity is truth. It is what we are. We're not trying to cover up and give you just this smiling face.
That's how we grow together.
Yes.
We got to grow together, right?
I love growing together. I would rather grow together because I would be a tumbleweed if I didn't have people around me. So
I hear ya.
You guys have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be glad to see you next week,
Yeah,
right? Yes,
absolutely.
We'll be back next week, same time, same place. So catch us then. Have a wonderful and fabulous Thursday. Bye.